Hey guys, it's Queen Haru, and I'm coming to you today with another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius. Okay, so if you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. And don't forget to like and share this video. If you like it, please hit the button and share it with everybody that you know who would like it too. All right, so the other day I was doing a reading. You guys know that one of my favorite things to do are readings. I do readings all the time. And I was doing a reading for a woman, and the card said that she would do well to work with the divine feminine energy. Divine feminine, sacred feminine, goddess energy was what the card was talking about. And she said to me, how do I work with this energy? Now, the first thing I wanted to do for her is I wanted to give her a resource. I wanted to tell her, like, okay, you can work with this. Something that explained it further. When you tell a person, oh, work with divine feminine energy, it's like, what the hell does that mean? You know? So I went to YouTube to try to find a video that could explain to her how to work with the divine feminine energy. And I couldn't find anything that fit. So I said to her, you know what? I'm going to ponder it. I'm going to pray on it. I'm going to meditate on it. And I'm going to see if God sends me something that can help you. So God has told me to give her this video that I'm doing right now. So this is how you work with divine feminine energy, sacred feminine energy, goddess energy. First of all, what the hell is it? Most of us learn our understanding of God, of spirituality, from another person. Most of us are fed this information from our mom, our dad, our family members, some dude we meet at a bar. You know, somebody comes along one day at some point and tells us about God. Now, many of us, like myself, have already had an inclination. As a little girl, I knew who God was. I didn't know what it was, but I knew there was something else there because I could feel it. I knew there were spirits there too because I would see them. So I knew there was something going on and I didn't know what it was. So later on, my mother told me about God. My mother gave me a children's Bible. And many of us, this is the way that it goes. Our mom or somebody tells us about it. Now, the problem with this is that they tell us their understanding of God. They tell us what they believe. They tell us what they feel, what they learned. And most of the time, what they learned was not from research, was not from soul searching, was not from pondering it. Most of the time, it's something somebody else told them. And then it goes on down the line, down the line, down the line. That's why you have certain families who are in certain spiritual systems and certain ones who are not. Because it wasn't the tradition of their family. So most of us learn that way. We learn from the tradition of our family. So we almost all of us learn about God the Father. In Christianity, in Judaism, and Islam, all of the main Abrahamic, the Abrahamic religions, they call them, we learn about God the Father. We have no understanding of God the Mother, which to me has always been ass backwards, because without woman, without female, without, I ain't gonna say female, without the woman, there is no life. Period. A man can't have a baby, and he damn sure can't do it by himself. So to me, one of the things that has never made sense is why the female is taken out of the creation process when we are the womb that the process goes through. Literally, figuratively, spiritually, it's us. You can't take us out of the creation process, in my opinion. But that's what's happened. Because of patriarchy, if you want to go back and look at history, because of patriarchy, the goddess was crushed, destroyed, hidden, buried. They did everything they could so that we would not know about the goddess, that we would not know about our ancestors' reverence and respect and worship of the goddess. A lot of our ancestors, especially the ancient Egyptians, the Yoruba, even I've looked at this even in Wicca. Wicca came from the old ways. They took all of their information and all their stuff and they mush-mashed it together, but it comes from the old ways, some new stuff and a lot of old stuff. And even with them, they have a lord and a lady. Everybody understands this balance. And when you try to have just the goddess or just the god, just the divine masculine or just the divine feminine, you're imbalanced immediately. So most of us grew up in traditions where we know nothing of the goddess, so the entire tradition is unbalanced. As far as I'm concerned, it can't even help you because the whole feminine aspect is missing. That's why so many people are leaving churches. That's why so many people are reclaiming the goddess, because they know that something is missing. But I want to say to you that whenever you come forward, I don't care how you worship. I don't care where you decide to go. I don't care what spiritual system. You need to have masculine and feminine equally. I work with both energies. I work with masculine gods and goddesses. Well, I work with masculine gods, masculine lords, and I work with feminine goddess energy. Okay? So you need a balance of both. Human beings are both. Energy is both. The creation process is both. You don't want to have one or the other. So when the cards say you need to work with feminine energy, sacred feminine, divine feminine, what it's saying is that you're lacking that in your balance. And a lot of us are. I know for a long time I didn't even see it as being important. When somebody said to me feminine, even if they said divine feminine, what I would see is barefoot and pregnant. That's what I would see in my mind. I would see, subservient, barefoot, pregnant, that kind of thing. I'm a warrior. I ain't nobody's, I am not nobody's submissive. So at that point in my life, especially when I was young, I couldn't even see the benefit of it. But as I became older, I realized that your energy is, again, imbalanced when you don't have both. Somebody said to me in a comment section the other day that I seem like a perfect balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's because I worked with masculine and feminine energy. I purposely do that. And I think that it's beneficial to us all to look at that. So somebody who wants to work with feminine energy, the divine feminine energy, goddess energy, this is how you do it. You go back and reclaim the goddess. All these mythologies, all of these traditions, all of these stories, books about the goddess, specific goddesses, if you will, is still there. They hid it from us. They tried to hide it. They burned a lot of it, but it's still there. We're finding figurines of the goddess that, ancient people carved. We're finding her on cave walls. We're finding mythologies from Roman and Greek times. The Yoruba have a very strong tradition of the Orisha, and the feminine Orisha embody this sacred feminine energy. Even though I don't think they call them goddesses, they call them Orisha, but they have that sacred feminine energy. Yemaya, Oshun, sacred feminine energies. So there are lots of traditions where the sacred feminine is still there. Her energy is still there and is still applicable to us. Kuan Yin, I talk about her all the time. Mother Mary from the Christian tradition. These are all sacred feminine, divine feminine energies. Either specifically goddesses or the same sacred feminine kind of energy. So learn about these energies. Read about the goddesses. Read about Aphrodite. Read the mythology of Venus. Look at it. It's not going to kill you. Look at it. Read about it. Because what you're going to find, number one, is that feminine energy is not just barefoot, pregnant, compassionate, merciful energy. It is a lot of times. But Not always. You're going to find warriors. You're going to find wisdom. You're going to find judges. You're going to find a lot of sacred feminine energy has to do with like prophecy and metaphysics and spirituality. You're going to find a lot of different things. These goddesses embody different aspects of what it means to be a woman. And we all know that women are all different. We have some similarities, but we have a lot of different things going on that go with our personalities and how we were nurtured. It's the same way with the goddess. There's a goddess for everything. There's a goddess that has done just about everything. So go back, reclaim these traditions, read about the goddess, learn about her. When you're looking at YouTube videos, I did find a lot of good divine feminine music, like music that gets you into the divine feminine energy. But also, one of the things I found is self-care, making yourself beautiful, putting on makeup, putting on jewelry. You know, for some of us, that's a very feminine, a very sacred feminine activity. Wearing flower crowns, wearing beautiful outfits. Those too are ways of getting in contact with your inner goddess. Okay, so there are lots of ways of doing this energy. All it really is just focusing on the divine feminine, focusing on goddesses, orishas, sacred feminine, women from history, strong, honorable women from history, and focusing on those energies. Pulling more of that out of yourself too is really the most important part of working with sacred feminine energy. There's all kinds of books, and you know after I'm done, I'm going to put a list of books and things for you guys underneath this video. But there's books, there's all kinds of stuff. I even have a musical selection for you guys, a free one from YouTube I'm going to give you. So using these energies, these books, these music, this understanding is how you deal with divine feminine energy. You know, it's just simply learning about it and incorporating it into your life. I have the mothers on my altar. I have Kuan Yin on my altar. I have Mother Mary on my altar. But I also have masculine energies on my altar. I have Haru. I have Tahuti. I have Ganesha. You know, so I balance the energies out, but I don't ignore the feminine. Most of us don't have any feminine, sacred feminine energy at all. But all of our traditions give a nod to it, like I said with Mother Mary. And there are other women, other sacred women in the Bible. There are other sacred women in these other texts. So it's all about reclaiming that energy. What can goddess energy do for you? What can sacred feminine energy do for you? It can balance you out. Because if you don't have any sacred feminine energy going throughout yourself, if you're not awakening that in yourself, if you're just focusing on your masculine energy, your warrior energy, for a lot of us women, we have no choice. We focus on our warrior energy. We focus on those energies because we're in a corporate America. We're in places where we have to be strong. We have to be just as tough as the boys, and we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to fight these fights, and sometimes even more so than men, because they're looking at us like, she's just a woman. They have all these stereotypes going on about us immediately. So a lot of times we have to be very strong, and we have to fight even that much harder. So for those of us who are in that energy, it means that sacred feminine, divine feminine, goddess energy, that kind of energy, we usually don't even get to even consider it, much less embrace it in our spiritual practices. And that's what I always tell people is embrace it in your spiritual practices and in your knowledge and your reading, your research, because that's how it comes from within. And then you have a healthy balance of the two. You have the time. It's a time when you have to be tough. It's a time. It's a time for aggression. It's a time for your own warrior, your own masculine energy. It's a time for that. It is. And all of us, men and women. And there is a time for feminine energy. And learning how to balance the two and learning which one is appropriate is the trick to it. Another thing, feminine energy isn't just for women. Men should work with feminine and masculine energy too, because you guys need to be balanced out just as much as we do. Some men have a tendency to be overly aggressive, overly like the kind of man that'll hit you in the head with a club and then drag you down the street. I've met men like that. Those kind of men, when I meet them, I'm thinking, yeah, he needs to work with feminine energy because it'll make him more compassionate. And I'm not saying he needs to go put on lipstick and a slip. I'm saying that he needs to learn about goddess energy, that he needs to tap into his own nurturing self, his own compassion self. Those are the aspects of the divine feminine: nurturing, compassionate, mercy. And learning about goddess, working with divine feminine energy will help him in those ways. I know a lot of men that are priests of Oshun. It's not a conflict because they know, even though they're heterosexual men, they know that we all have a balance of masculine and feminine. So they may be priest of Oshun, priest of Yemaya, whatever the case is, but still a straight man, But it doesn't stop him from worshiping the goddess, working for the goddess, being a receptacle of the goddess. It doesn't stop us in any way. So if you're looking to deal with this kind of energy, either because of a reading or because you lack it, take a look at this video, take a look at the things I have underneath it, and just allow it into your life. And if you're drawn to one particular goddess or one particular sacred feminine energy, really pay attention, because some of the times that's that goddess calling you towards her. Like, for example, I'm a priestess of Mayat. Mayat is the ancient Egyptian spiritual system. But when I initiated under Auset. If you notice, my name is Auset Haru. Auset is my feminine, Haru is my masculine. Auset is the goddess Isis. They changed her name. The Greeks changed her name, but Auset called herself Auset. They called her Isis later on. So when I started to notice her, I just thought she was beautiful. I liked her depiction. I liked her story. She was a woman who was a single mom. Even though she was a goddess, she was a single mother. She was into magic. She ended up reaching all kinds of amazing heights. She was even able to trick Ra into telling her his real name, and ended up getting all these rewards, these blessings because of it. She was really sharp and raised her son by herself because her husband was dead. So I really loved her story. I loved her mythology. I loved learning about her. And the more and more I got to understand her, the more and more she called me towards her. And when it was time for me to initiate, I was like, I gotta go with Auset, because she had just been there for me. I had so much turmoil and so much trauma, and Auset was the one who kept coming to me in my dreams. She was the one that was leading me. She was the one that was guiding me, even though I was very into Oshun. I was very into learning about Oshun. I loved Oshun. Oshun was the first goddess, the first Orisha that I had ever even heard of, the first sacred feminine I had ever heard of. And I heard about her in Iyanla Van Zant's book. So I had been researching her. I loved her. I was using her colors, her metals. Like, every goddess has flowers they prefer. They have metals they prefer, numbers they prefer. And I was very into her because she was a lot like me. Her energy was a lot like mine. And when it was time for me to start to, grow in my spirituality, it was Auset that was really calling me. It was Auset coming in my dreams. It was Auset who saved my life. So when it was time for me to initiate, even though I love Oshun and still work with Oshun, it was Auset that was like, you belong to me. And I went with her. So pay very close attention if a particular goddess keeps popping up in your life, because that goddess may want to work with you more closely. Okay? So that's my talk on the goddess energy, the divine feminine. I hope that more of you take your time and learn more about this energy. And I encourage you to learn more about spirituality in general. Don't just let your spiritual knowledge be what somebody told you. Don't let your whole relationship with God be what your pastor told you, what your minister told you. You should be looking for yourself. You should be researching. You should be reading things. You should be learning things for yourself. Now, you could think about that with anything. Nothing in your life should just be what somebody told you. Even if you're researching a computer to buy for your house, you might ask your friends, you might ask your best friend, you might even ask a computer expert. But it would also behoove you to Google it and look at some YouTube videos. You know, get a book and look at it. It's the same thing with spirituality. Don't let your relationship with God be through the eyes of someone else. Because it's not like that. We're all supposed to choose how we worship on our own. Even the Bible says that God gave us all different ways to worship. Why do you think that is? It's because we're all supposed to pick our own path. You're not supposed to let grandma pick your path for you and you just walk it blindly. That's why so many people are lost right now. That's why people are disenchanted with the church. Disenchanted with other spiritual systems too, not just the church. But that's why. Because you let somebody else pick it for you. It's not your own personal relationship from your heart. Your relationship with God, your relationship with Goddess, the Creator, should be from your heart. It shouldn't be something somebody told you about one Sunday. So think about that. Think about that and let your heart and mind open and learn. There's a lot of things out here that you might be very interested in. But if you don't research, if you don't learn, you're never going to know. If you like this, please hit that like button, hit that share button, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.